Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is Cee, certified brewhead.
I'm Tiffany, liquid enthusiast.
And welcome to episode 11 of Beer and Other Shit Podcast Link Up series. This is the final episode of series 2 of Link Up. Obviously, this is an ongoing series where we're going to be continuing just to chat with all the different breweries who are so cool enough to participate in the Link Up initiative. And it's been another fantastic
It has
series
just a
once again.
fantastic, flawless series across the board. Not talking about the podcast, because that's like...
No, the podcast has been
The
great.
podcast has also been
Not
great,
us,
but it's
but
actually
the
hilarious to be like,
conversations.
my product that I put out here is flawless. I was really talking about the beers have been flawless. They're
The
all
beers have.
freaking amazing. I can't wait to try our last one,
Yes.
maybe last one,
Oh,
in the series. And
We can
then,
talk about it.
but all the pods have been like incredible, just great conversation.
yeah.
And I love this one in particular because we're speaking into a specific segment that we haven't really addressed as part of Link Up.
Not directly.
Not directly, not really been able to have that conversation, and also someone that we used to get to hang out with in person in a beautiful brewery, just a few minutes away. Not a few
Right.
minutes, like 20 minutes.
It's not that far.
25 minutes.
We'll
away.
be back
It was
in
great.
action.
We'll
I
be
think,
back.
soon enough.
Great
now.
patio. Wasn't there a great patio happening?
Yeah, we went and it rained that day.
And
so
it
we have
rained,
to
yeah.
come hang out on the
The
patio.
patio
The
was awesome.
pizzas.
Ooh, yeah.
We talked about
yeah,
that.
Good times.
Remember that shit?
Yeah.
That was fun as hell. We're going to bring in a gentleman who has been on the podcast. This is third time
Ooh,
back.
check it out.
Welcome, Drew from Kahnawake Brewing in the building. How you doing, brother? Good to see your
I
face.
just love the cheesy like applause thing.
You mean our live studio audience?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's what that is. Thank you. That's like at least 40, 50 people
Do you know what's
in the
funny?
audience hanging out.
I have an alternative version. This one's called the Posh Applause. You know what I mean?
Honestly, that's like actually the Oscar. That sounds
Yeah.
like the Oscar
Yeah.
applause.
So I go with the one that is built into the program. But you know,
Yeah,
we here.
That sounds like definitely like pre-Ricky Gervais, sort of award show.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Before he just like shits on
Ruined it.
everybody. And
Yeah.
Oh, that dude. I love it, man. Look, first of all, welcome back. Your third time here.
Yeah.
You are the 6th brewery with Link Up. Really appreciate you. This is super cool. And you've done something really different. This is, like Tiff said, this is a convo we've been looking forward to because there's a whole different nuance that we haven't touched on with what you do. So if everyone wants to go and check out, I actually should have looked them up. But there was one time in
I'll find
person,
out.
we did it back in 2018 with Scott for the first pod. And then we did it again last year with Noah and Matt and had a nice little extravaganza on the virtual pod. Tiff is going to double check the episode numbers now. So if you want to hear the...
Episode 86 and Quarantine Edition episode 61.
whoa!
This fucking guy.
Just take my job.
Wow. This is just quick. Get out of here. Drew, you're in.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
go,
good.
bro.
You're
Yeah.
good. Go ahead,
I heard you
go
guys were hiring, so I mean,
It's very true. And I feel like you've already auditioned
Yeah,
3
definitely.
times. So
I love that. I love that.
we'll talk after the episode if you're available. No, so definitely go check those out because it's a really interesting story. So this evening we're going to be hearing a bit more about what you do and also cracking this bad boy. Tell us about the beer, bro, because this is fascinating. I just want to position. This is the first beer out of all of the Link Up beers that we have had that was not some form of pale ale IPA or double IPA.
And St. Kim's.
They did a black IPA.
Oh, it was a black
Still
IPA.
IPA.
You're right. Yeah.
So that was the
Oh, yeah.
one that wasn't the yellow IPA.
Yeah.
But this is the first, literally, out of the 12 beers that isn't. So please tell us about that whilst we pour it up and take the photos.
yeah. Well, that's it. At Kahnawake Brewing, we tend to dabble in the hazy IPAs as well, but we also do quite a bit of lagers. So we saw from like the first series that a lot of people were coming out with just IPAs, double IPAs. We want to do something a little bit different. And one of the release dates was February 14th. So like, let's do something a little bit Valentine's Day. And
Oh.
let's do something a little bit different than kind of what everybody else was doing and hoping that in the second series, everybody's going to do more of the same.
Yeah.
So like ours would really be standing out, but it's definitely a different conversation to have when we're talking about Link Up. And so we wanted something to be kind of, out there and different. It's something I've been talking about for probably a good year. I want to do some fruited lagers. So I just felt like, um, you know, let's do something completely different for a different conversation that we don't normally have,
Yeah.
together. So I think this was kind of a perfect opportunity to do something like this.
I love that. Do something different. Yeah, because it is a. Yeah, I love that. Do something different for a different conversation.
I didn't know. And look, just to point out to people, I imagine we've said this on here before, but we don't have any input or interference in the label or the beer itself. And typically, sometimes we ask you beforehand what you're doing just out of curiosity. But more often than not, I think we don't even... sometimes I don't find out until the beer drops. Which is, I think it's so fun for us because obviously you and I have worked. Well, we've got a bunch of collabs coming, which we can talk about now if we want to because it's it's a little out of scope. But by the time this drops, the other stuff will be out. So when you and I work together on multiple collabs we have coming, we're figuring out every intricate detail from for the maybe not grain bill. I kind of leave that to you, but all the other fun stuff, the adjuncts and the hops and all that type of thing is what we do together, whereas this one, you just, you guys came up with it, and I didn't even know that it was for Valentine's Day theme, which is money. Oh, gorgeous. Look at that. Tiff's just getting the money shots here. That beautiful beer.
I mean, we didn't really mention that anywhere either because we didn't want that to be the focal point of the beer.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I love it, bro. Why did you choose pomegranate? Was it mostly for the color or?
Yeah, I guess partially for the color, but also, I don't know, pomegranate Pilsner just rolls so much better off the tongue.
Alliteration, huh?
Yeah.
Here for it.
I don't know, I was just kind of kicking around at the list of fruits that were available at our various suppliers, and I don't know, pomegranate just hit me a little bit nicer. I think we really want to go in the red...
something in the red world.
In the red realm, so...
Oh, it's perfect.
Let me choose first.
Well, first of all...
I overpoured for the
That's okay. Cheers, guys. Oh, the
Cheers.
overpour is the old Iceman pour. Get it in you. Nice.
Awesome.
So the base is a like a one of your standard Pilsner base. Yep.
Yes, standard German Pilsner. It's kind of played off of our Blind Ladies Pilsner, which is our German Pilsner that we typically do from time to time. And just added pomegranate to it. Just let it do its thing. Yeah.
Question. How the heck does pomegranate happen in this? Like, is that a puree? That's a puree, right?
This would be a juice concentrate because actually, it's not really a pulpy.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, literally, you bite a pomegranate, you get nothing. The reward on it is so incredibly low when you bite into it. Okay, so that makes
delicious.
sense.
Yeah.
They're delicious, but they make you work. There's so much work. Okay.
It's a juice concentrate that we used, and I didn't want it to be a pomegranate juice. So all it does is kind of lend a little bit of a tartness to it, a little bit of slight fruitiness, but it's generally just kind of your standard crispy with a nice color.
Yeah, delicious.
I'm definitely getting that. Exactly. I'm just taking a few single word notes here, but the cereal vibes of a Pilsner really stand strong through it. I'm noticing, am I getting a bit of, is it astringent? Is that accurate or not really quite the word?
I'm not really sure I would get quite the word, but I can see what you mean. There's a slight sort of bitterness, but almost pithiness from. I would suspect probably the fruit itself.
Yeah, I imagine.
But yeah,
almost pithy. Yeah, pithy. That's definitely what I would say as well. Then, and it's like the sweetness is nicely there, but it's not over the top, which I guess is probably part of writing that fine line for a style like this, for a fruited pills type of thing. And it's pretty
also
dry.
I mean the whole point of this, when we put it on the socials this week at the launch, we wanted it to be really approachable. We wanted to make sure that it was going to reach as many hands as possible because it's a good it's really the organization and the cause and the message behind it, not so much the beer, in my opinion anyways. So it was, something approachable. So especially it being pink and maybe a little bit fruity, we would definitely get it in, not to generalize, but we get it in a lot more females' hands. And then it being just an approachable beer in general, it would get into many more hands than if we did a face ripping double IPA, triple dry hopped or something like that. So,
Right.
which would appeal to a lot of bearded dudes, most likely, I guess,
Right.
So there you go. Yeah. And my wife too,
There you go.
M's
Yeah.
got that life.
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah.
She knows.
Face ripping double IPAs, but so we wanted it definitely to be refreshing. Dry. You definitely want somebody to revisit this beer again and again. But yeah, and like on the back of the can, we did outline the whole mission statement,
which I
of Link
love.
Up.
Yeah, I
So-
love that you did that. Because we realized actually, so thank you for doing that, that we were like, oh, like that's probably something that we need to either add a QR code or ask people to put the thing on the can, because sometimes we realize like, oh, maybe it just says Link Up, but people are like, what the F does that
I
even
think this is
mean?
the
Or
first
like there's
time.
no follow-up to it.
Mm.
Like some people have put like one line or two lines, which is
But
also good.
No one's
but
ever
this
put
is
the
like,
website or the social
Yeah.
handles before.
which is
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah, and I love that because it's like, yeah, we do want people to learn more about the mission. And you can't
I mean,
always...
it's a hell of a lot of text to fit on there, and it's pretty small. But hopefully,
Yeah, you did it.
somebody didn't have too many of these beers and still able to read. But
As long as it's like the first or second, then beer, you're
Yeah,
good
it's
to
only
go.
5.5. It's just, she's light. And I like as well, it's good because we happen to have it at bilingual since we're based here in Quebec. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love it, man. That is super cool. So I wanted to start off with
excuse me.
no, you're all right, mate. I guess we never talked about this early on, but you specifically in Kahnawake had a large impact on the direction we took for Link Up in the beginning. I reached out to you little under a year ago, probably, because we were deciding who we wanted to serve with this program. And we weren't sure where, do we just stick with black folks, being that that's the majority of the team at the time? We had more people involved at the time. Or do we want to open it up? Like, how did we want to go about it? And one of the ideas that was thrown around was black and indigenous. So we're like, oh, well, let me talk to Drew because I imagine it's something we want to double check on. So you were kind enough. I didn't even think I even told you the name of it back then.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Because I think when you reached out, you were like, yo, what's all this about? I'm like, yo, it's the thing I was telling you. Like,
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. So my bad on that. You might not have even had the name at the time.
I was thinking we might not have had the name.
Which
'cause
could have
that was
been.
also
No.
a thing. Yeah.
So it could have been that. But either way, you were kind enough to put us in touch with one of your former employees who is an Indigenous woman from a very strong lineage. And she took some time and she chatted with Jacob and myself about, whether it's appropriate to to try and assist and include Indigenous people in an initiative that is trying to bring people into working in the craft beer industry, being that traditionally Indigenous people have had a, what's the word? I don't know, rocky or interesting relationship
Yeah.
with alcohol.
Yeah. Weathered past.
There you go.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah.
And, as most people would be aware, and that was kind of our consideration as well. And we're like, okay. And she sort of talked to us about it, and it got to the point where she wanted us to talk to her dad, who was an elder at for a tribe based in Trois-Rivières out there. And there's like a college out there where she thought it could be good for us to tap into the college kids there, just an Indigenous college, so we can give people an opportunity. Hey, you're out of college, like here's another alternative, a career alternative that you may not have considered. So we didn't take it that far because we thought this could we didn't want to offend anybody or make any missteps with something like this that we take so serious. So what we decided to do was buy POC because that includes everybody that essentially isn't Anglo-Saxon, I guess, or Caucasian. So that was, and being that you are I'll get you to talk about that as well, but you're the first. Are you the first in Canada, right, on the First Nations reservation?
Yeah.
Which is dope. So obviously it was perfect for you guys. We wanted you guys to be involved from the beginning. It made complete sense. But that guidance was very, very helpful. So I'd love to just hear, when you sort of understood what it was after that first time, like, what made sense for you guys to get involved in something like this.
Yeah, actually, well, I do remember our first conversation. I don't think you did have a name for that at the time, but I think it was like a lot of developing steps you guys were doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and then I think I was like a little bit surprised that we kind of weren't invited, I guess, to the first one. But yeah, I remember just reaching out, and actually, I didn't even know that it was you at first when I had sent that message through. I think it was Instagram, and you're like, yeah. And I didn't like present myself either. I just said like, hey, we'd like to be a part of this. And you're like, hey, my name's Craig, and on behalf of Link Up, we would love to have you. I'm like,
hey, my name's Craig. Is that how you replied? You're
because
so
I didn't,
formal.
well, because I didn't think.
Oh, you know it was Drew.
I didn't know if you ran it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think I actually reached. I think I did.
Hello, Andrew. Thanks for your interest in the Link Up program.
Imagine, be like, shut up. Drew and I have known each other for years, long before you were even when you were president of the Homebrewers Club out here. So we go back. But I think I did reach out, but I don't know if I got to you or whatever before, in the first one. And I said, hi, my name's, because I didn't know if you did it, but I should have just hit you personally. I think that was where I went wrong. I should have just like, gone, hey, bro, this is what's up. But either way, I'm glad it worked out for the second one. You know,
yeah. Well, I think you know what, it's good that like the first version, and you guys had some bangers on that one. So you know, to get that hype going and all that stuff, and so it was just nice to be part of the second series and keep that torch going. Yes, hopefully we kept all that, like everybody stepped up to the plate for sure.
100%
for series 2. So
it was amazing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, incredible.
Yeah. There's too many good breweries.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's just everything's just like so good. Just so happy.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And everybody kind of learned something from the first series, and I think, you know, we had that sort of roundtable discussion with everybody last week or the week before, and there's still a lot of stuff I think everybody's kind of figuring out and learning and stuff like that. So. Yeah, it's just cool, like how other breweries are taking that too, and how they're applying it in their own space, you know.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So no, I was just thinking about this because as Craig was mentioning, you are or C certified brewhead was mentioning, you are the first. What's the official? Is that Indigenous-owned brewery in Canada? Is that correct?
So yes, we're the first. Majority Indigenous-owned brewery on a First Nations territory. So in the country, there are some Indigenous people involved in other breweries, but they may not be on a territory. And then there are some that I guess north of Canada and in the territories that are not majority owned. So yeah, it's nice that we're kind of the first. There's now a second one apparently in Quebec. So we're interested to reach out to them and see what they're up to. And
yeah, like make more connections in that area too.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're thinking about Link Up, because you reached out cold technically, even though it was like your friend behind the thing. Yeah, like what about it? What about Link Up? Were you like, like we should be a part of this. Like we need to be in on this.
Well, I mean, we're sort of letter I in BIPOC, right?
Yeah.
So it just kind of a natural kind of association, or I don't know, lack of a better term, association of that. You know, and I guess part of us, you know, we have a message also to put out there, which is kind of in line with you guys. You know, like we always want to make sure that we have a nice diversity in our tap room. But hiring local is definitely a key focus for us. And, you know, that's kind of our message as well to everybody, that we want to keep that going and get people, especially like supporting local. I think everybody wants to, I mean, even if I guess we're in, you know, name a city, name a town, we're always going to be looking for somebody, you know, to hire locally. But for us, it's extra special to do that because it's where we are. It's who we are. You know.
Yeah, you're like the perfect situation, or what we're looking for in terms of, you know, reflecting what's around you. which is something that we were talking about in terms of like when you look at like the tap rooms or people who are working within a brewery, it's like it looks like one singular human, even though there's like an entire world around that person or entire city around that person that looks a completely different way. And even with you emphasizing like, oh, we love hiring locally, what that means is that you by nature are just going to be diverse because you're making sure to feed the community in that way. So like giving back.
Yeah.
It's like the antithesis of Amazon, where they like build places in cities and then don't hire anyone from New York, for example, or whatever they do. Like they go someplace and don't hire. But yeah, that's what we want. We want people to think about like, oh, this doesn't look like what's around here. So how do I fix that? You know, what are the ways I can go about fixing that? So. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, one of our key things from the first day, me and my business partners discussed what we're going to do for this business. Like, you know, we did not want to culturally appropriate, like I'll speak on behalf of, because I'm not Indigenous by any means, but we didn't want to culturally appropriate our own people, use Indigenous or First Nations imagery or anything like that.
Yeah,
that's not. That's definitely not it's what a lot of people from, let's say, outside expect of us, because they all want to see feathers and stuff like that on. Yeah. But it's definitely not what we're about. And it's you know, it's I don't know, bad mojo to kind of like make $1 off cultural stuff, you know. So
100%.
Not saying whoever's doing it is wrong. I mean, if that's what it is and who they are and what they believe, then that's totally fine. But we don't think it's right to do that. So, you know,
yeah, poor taste.
That's our stance on it. Yeah,
poor taste. But what's great, actually, even when you think about that too, and I'm thinking about like the Redskins, for example, or like the people who have gone in like the full opposite direction. And what's good about it is because you have ownership at the highest level, you're able to make these decisions and understand that like this is not the right approach that we would want to take here. Like we want to make sure that we're making this inclusive. It doesn't feel comical or stereotypical or any of these things, right? It's just about like good product, good people, good business type deal, right? So I think that's a benefit also.
Good point.
Because I don't know, the Redskins probably owned by a bunch of white guys, for example, and they're all like, "Yeah, you know what's great?
Washington,
feathers. Yeah. People love that. The headdress, it's got to be on it. You know, like that's the difference. Yeah. So I think that's a benefit for you guys too, because you probably would have been in trouble if you just tried to roll with that anyway. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just definitely not the direction that we would go into and or want to go into. You know, it's very important for us to have a tie to where we are. You know, like for instance, our imagery is the Black Bridge, which is the train bridge that runs parallel to the Mercier Bridge. But that's because ironworking, and that was the first job that local ironworkers had worked on. So that was kind of a very important tie to our community. But to use, you know, and I'm sure you had this discussion with Pepper back in the day, Craig. But you know, like even using the language, for instance, just has, you know, some sort of like sacred attachment to the people and to the land. So, you know, like even, you know, you don't want to throw words on there, and that might piss some people off, because those might be sacred words. I mean, there's certain ingredients that we don't even use because those are sacred ingredients. You know, like you'll never find sage and cedar in any of our beers because those are sacred sacred ingredients for them. You know, so.
But that's the importance of when it comes back to what you were saying about the ownership and that high level where you know that going into it, as opposed to making the mistakes and sort of embarrassing yourselves. So I guess, you know, proving the point of the importance of having a diverse ownership body, so that you don't have to learn easy lessons the hard way.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's asking the questions to the people that you trust too. Like I reach out to the young lady that you spoke to early on in the link up development phases. And I mean, I keep in touch with her fairly often if I'm not too sure which direction we're going to go in, or like there's something that we may want to do or try, or and if I feel like it's kind of inappropriate, or if there's a question, if there's any sort of doubt, like I'll always question. I have a couple of key people that I talk to, and to see if that's like a good idea or not. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. It all depends on how it means.
I love that.
Yeah. Talking about the diversity of your team that you were talking about earlier, being where you're based, what's the I guess what's the interest, or how has the interest been in the community itself, and what did you end up with? Are people coming from outside? Are you getting a lot of like folks from the res itself applying for jobs? Like, what's that diversity makeup of? Even if it's like the applicants themselves, like maybe not even the ones who you hire in the end, but what does that look like for you guys?
So I think everybody right now is kind of going through they would just hire anybody at this point, because there's a lack of applicants in general. But let's say always pre-COVID, and I guess we've been kind of fortunate that we haven't really had an issue of like a lack of hands right now. Knock on wood. But I would say, a lot of the times it's more referral from within. So we'll have an employee that has a friend who's looking for a job, or some friends that may be looking for a job. So it's usually, most of the time, comes in from there. Of course, there's some like kind of trickier key positions, like for instance, a brewer, which is, that's a little bit harder to find, because you're looking for somebody really with experience, and perhaps even schooling in that, or something along those lines. And I mean, in terms of, if you're looking for somebody coming out of school on that, that's kind of a recent thing, because there hasn't been too many brewing like programs, let's say. But you're definitely looking for somebody with experience, and that in itself is kind of a difficult thing already. So for instance, those kind of like those kind of positions are a little bit, I would say, probably get more interest from the outside. But in terms of all the front end stuff, waiters, waitresses, people in the kitchen as well, I think we have a good mix. I would definitely say it's maybe a little bit more than 50% from our own community, from our own backyard. So that's nice, and we wanted to keep that going. We always want to keep that going.
Of course. 50% is kind of
incredible,
amazing. Like, obviously, we all know what breweries are like, and if you've got single digit percent, that's usually impressive. So 50% from the local community. Where you guys, and if you listen to the other podcasts we've done, where you talked about, you literally wrote the laws, or helped write the laws for alcohol and beer production on the res, which is just still phenomenal to me. But that's really, really cool, man. Was there an element of education for the community required, as far as maybe people wouldn't have been familiar just with this whole brewery thing, and like, beer is just Budweiser that you see in a gas station or whatever, but like, now you've done this local thing. Like, did people sort of be like, what is this, when they were applying, or like, what did that look like?
I definitely think there was an educational element that we had to sort of develop over time, without really knowing it or putting any sort of curriculum together. Because when we started, we kind of went through, and even to this day, I'm pretty sure we still deal with this, is a little bit of identity crisis, where people are not really sure, are you guys a restaurant? No, we're a brewery. Okay, so you're a bar. Well, not exactly. So it's like, if you don't fit in the bar category, you don't fit in the restaurant category, well, what the hell are you, Right. So that's kind of the issue, I guess, that we had early on, and maybe we still continue today to have that. I'm not super present on the floor, so like to talk with customers as much anymore. So I don't really know if we still get those kind of questions, but that was definitely kind of like the educational factor of it. then from the people from, let's say, the outside of the territory coming in, there's still a lot of people who don't even think that we brew our own beer. Like they'll think that somebody's doing it for us, you know.
Right.
Okay.
Why would they
So
think that?
Yeah, why would they think that? It's
well, I mean,
literally called Brewing Crow is in the title.
well, I mean, like, I guess kind of like you look around at the environment that we're in. You know, there's a lot of smoke shacks and you know, places to buy cigarettes, cheap gas,
Yeah.
and liquidation TVs. You know, like it's not really known for. I mean, it's getting there, but it's not really known for fine dining or a brewery experience. You know, I think with the casinos that have, or sorry, gaming halls, if you want to call them that. With those, like the poker playground and so, and like Magic Palace, for instance.
She has a story about that.
Fun poker playground. Sorry, I haven't heard that in a while, and
Yeah, but
we'll talk about
like,
that offline. But yeah.
No, but just places like this bring in a lot of people from the outside of the territory, and it kind of enlightens people. Like, oh crap, there's like other things than just that, you know, just than you know, buying cheap cigarettes and getting cheap gas. So I think, you know, like thankfully to these kind of places for bringing you know, shedding a little bit of light on our community, but you know, I think it was very important for us to start brewing some quality shit, or else people ain't going to show up, you know.
Right.
And yeah, so I mean, I think, you know, us being pretty active on social media, I'd like to think. I have to ask High Seasons how we're doing, but but you know, like us being active on social media and you know, us, you know, trying to do some quality stuff. I think we're doing a pretty good job and getting a little bit of, you know, notoriety for what we're known for our beers and stuff like that. It's definitely bringing tourism and to Kahnawake. And you know, the tourism board knows that too. Like, you know, we're getting pretty close with the tourism board, and the tourism board is getting pretty interested because they see that it, you know, like we're driving in a certain clientele. So it's nice, you know, it's nice to get. Hopefully, we're getting close to getting some more people interested and aware. You know, like the more people that come and visit, the more people become aware of who these people are, and it's not just all about cheap cigarettes and gas. You know.
Yeah,
definitely. Other things that you guys have been involved with, I've seen, you know, obviously followed the journey closely over the years. We're talking a lot, but I see, you know, you guys have done a bunch of, you know, always involved in the community. Obviously, it's a very community-based area. It's sort of like part of the deal. But, you know, you guys seem to have gone over and above. Do you want to just touch on some of the, like, whether it's the community or something like Link Up isn't your first rodeo of you know, giving back, I guess is what I mean.
Right.
Love to hear about some of the other stuff that you've done that has worked well for you guys.
One organization that we deal with quite a bit is the Food Basket, which is kind of like your local food bank. They take care of a lot of families who are in need. So we tend to work with them quite often.
Nice.
You know, we just worked with well, I mean, this is right before COVID. There was a local school called Indian Way School, and there was more and more people enrolling to this, more and more children, enrolling to this school, and so they had a lack of a school bus. So it was like based on they did a fundraiser, and the community really banded together to get this school a school bus. So what we did we signed on. It's not like a contractual thing, but we said, for the whole month of November, we're going to give $1 for every pint sold towards the school bus. We had donation bins on the bar, and as people are dropping money in, also buying pints, we're giving $1 back. Well, then we ran it for a second month in December, which was we had a lot of Christmas parties and all that stuff coming in, so that raised even more money for them. And then we also did a hip hop concert in. Was it a hip hop concert? I think it was just a show in general. There was hip hop involved, but I think there was also some. I'm too old for this shit. I don't get it.
I think the kids were doing the hip hop, perhaps. I'm not sure.
The hippity hop. I think it was.
That's what they call it.
But yeah, clearly I didn't attend. But, so we sold tickets, and all the money, 100% of the tickets, went to the school bus, and also all the pints sold that month went to them.
Nice.
In the end, they got a goddamn school bus. Is what I was trying to get to.
Sick. Awesome.
We also did Celebrating Sisters last year, which was for the murdered and missing Indigenous women.
Huge cause and problem. So yes.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was the original focus of it. However, as we kind of touched on a little bit before, alcohol and First Nations people is a very touchy subject. Mm-hmm. So, and then furthermore, the whole goal was to give to a women's organization, and more specifically an Indigenous women's organization. And a lot of breweries, we weren't the only one. There was I think 40 breweries, give or take, involved. And a lot of us had issues trying to find an organization that would take money from an alcohol establishment, because a lot of times women are there either because of addiction or because they've been subject to somebody with an addiction to drugs or alcohol. So the focus ended up being hopefully to an Indigenous organization, is what the mandate kind of was. So we ended up working with the food basket once again on that. But I really like the original cause. It's just unfortunate that, we reached out to, I don't want to get into it, that we reached out to an organization, their board of directors didn't really fancy where the money was coming from. So I respect that, and that's cool. What else did we do? We did a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, on that, it's true, because that's exactly why those are the conversations we were having, because we were like, okay, it was like a weird situation where we're like, we want to increase diversity and we want to put more money in the pockets of these communities that are sometimes leveraged but not getting to be part of the conversation, or just in general, we want to diversify the industry, which means bringing everybody in. But then we were like, okay, are we promoting drinking in an industry where, in a community, and several different communities under that, where, there is this touchy issue with it. So it's like, then are we promoters and doing a bad thing? It was an interesting thing. And then we were like, and after these conversations and consultations, we're like, we would be more of a problem if we were like, oh, we're going to cut you out of this initiative because we don't want to, we don't want to promote it. Where it's like, no, we need like what you have. We need owners. We need people in this industry no matter what. Yeah. And in the end, we just hope that we continue to tread in the right way and come from an honest place and keep it as respectful as possible. Right. But it's hard. And I can't blame anybody for being like, no, we're not going to be a part of it. Like, I get it. Completely makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah. Like I have a hard time even with things for children. We've got people have reached out to us like, would you support certain, I'm not talking like T-ball team or some crap like that. I'm talking about like, things that directly affect children's upbringing and stuff like that. For instance, I don't really have an example off the top of my head. There is an organization in our community that I would like to work with. However, does it appear that we're kind of promoting alcoholism to the next generation? Is kind of like my take on it.
That's fair.
And like hey, that's I'm I guess developing the next wave of customers, but I don't want it to. I don't feel right about that.
Yeah.
Maybe some people do, but
I feel like cigarette brands, they would totally be all up in there. They'd be like, check. I didn't even know
all
what
the
they're
T-ball
called.
teams.
I didn't even know any of the cigarette brands, but they would be all up in that. But it's funny because you want to do it from the good of your heart. but it's just
Yeah.
the business that you're actually in.
Like,
It's
cards.
like a sin
No.
business.
Right,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
that's
you
fair.
you definitely want to put shoes on kids' feet, but you know, it's a tough situation to be in. You want to give them money, but you know,
Yeah.
oh,
No,
we're not promoting it to them, but what does it what's the message that kind of gets there? I'm not putting
Makes
my logo on
100%
the
sense.
shoes.
Yeah, that'd be a bit. Just a little picture of a pint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that get them started early.
Maybe get the kids like just hold it up,
yeah,
hold up a few cans, smile. Why
yeah.
not?
It's true though. You do
It's-
have to. I've never actually thought about that before. That there is a limitation there because normally, which is funny because you would do something from the good of your heart, but generally from like a corporate view and anything that's like, oh, we're being corporate social responsibility. It's like
Mhm.
we're doing it to market ourselves, and we're just doing it because it feels good. It's tax write off. It's not even feels good. It's tax write off, and that's our corporate checkoff box, and we did something good. So in a place where like breweries are actually very community focused.
It kind of
Yeah.
And it sucks because you actually just want to do good, but it does get deemed as like, oh, you're marketing to kids, or you're marketing beer to indigenous communities, or things like that. I've never really thought about the fact that there's like this limitation there of
Yeah.
where you can place yourself, even genuinely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of rough.
Maybe everyone needs a holding corp, like a holding corp
Yeah.
that's just like
Kahnawake
anything. Yeah.
charity.
Yeah. Well,
Just
you
good
know what?
stuff. Vibes or something.
At one point, I just felt like there was kind of a general lack of organizations that would,
Like
that we can work with, or
That's crazy.
so I've actually even considered doing my own sort of nonprofit organization, well, on behalf of the brewery, and basically our initiatives, any charitable initiatives, would feed that sort of kind of like you were talking about, like a holding company, just like we would just feed that one, and from there we would pick and choose who we want to work with, and it's like. Well, part of our money comes from alcohol sales from this other company who has donated graciously, this amount of money.
Mhm.
But, and then, so like we would kind of like work through another organization, but I'm like, that's a whole other ball game. And I need a second me. So, to kind of
That
get
part
this stuff
too.
off the ground, but,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, working with organizations such as yourselves, I mean, this is that kind of like negates my need to start something else. So, it's getting it out there, and then getting the money in the right spot, and people being transparent about it is always the tough part. The tough part that we've seen. Like sometimes you give money to an organization and you're not really sure you just hope that they did something good with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the problem. That's how this sort of started. Like Jacob at St. Kiem didn't know where to put the money from their Black is Beautiful initiatives, and it was like, well, maybe we should do our own thing and make more impact, because he wasn't comfortable with just take the money and then wipe your hands off it. So it's I guess it probably helps having this organization, like it overcomes the problems that you've had in the past, where obviously this is specifically from the alcohol industry to bring people into it. Because you and I were talking today, and essentially beer is manufacturing. It's like a blue-collar manufacturing job. Even though we all romanticize it, it's still, that's at its essence, that's what it is. And hospitality, of course. So that kind of, it's not just that they happen to be a manufacturing plant that makes alcohol, but cool, at the end of the day, it's still, and there's a lot of careers that can come from this, and that's what we're trying to do. And we all want to see this thing thrive because the people involved in it are cool, and it's not about, getting drunk is the side effect of the great products that we're drinking. I kind of wish I had better tolerance or whatever, didn't get as drunk so you could drink more of this stuff. Like, there's just so many creative, it's like it's art to me, and I know it is to you as a brewer. Like, this is art, and it's a shame some folks feel like that, but I also completely understand it's, and that is the aim of doing all of this type of stuff and driving this awareness. Was there anything else we want to make sure, we're in about the time issue, was there anything else we wanted to make sure that we touched on today with this one, because I know we want to make sure we got that sort of story. We got the other initiatives that you're doing. I mean, is there anything you're working on now, or anything else coming up
In relation to Link Up? Or
Link Up
like
in
that?
general, or just sort of like, is there opportunities coming up that maybe people
are you hiring or anything like that?
I mean, we're always looking for people,
Okay.
front and back. So
Okay, good.
So
Nice.
if you're
That's good to know.
interested, come on by.
Where can people find that? Is that
where can
available
people
on
find
your site?
We're kind of old school in the sense that we use Facebook still. We haven't done job postings through TikTok or anything, but
apparently it's a huge trend. I only just found out about that. It's a huge
really?
trend, and applying for jobs on TikTok is a huge trend.
yeah,
For real?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, we're like right now, sort of passively looking for somebody to handle our social media and marketing stuff. So if anybody's interested in that, and we're always looking for people up front, waiters, waitresses, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all set up in the kitchen right now. But yeah, and then eventually, probably in the summer, we might be needing somebody in the back in the brewery. So there's tons of possibilities down in Kahnawake. But and in terms of, I got some ideas to market this beer a little bit more. Like I said, the main focus was really to get the message out there. That's why I really liked putting the mission statement on the can.
Yeah.
The can is also plain Jane because I didn't want it to be a detraction from the message as well. Like it obviously we needed to call it Link Up, but I think it was very important to put that kind of front and center on that.
Yeah, you did for sure.
Yeah, you did a great job with that.
Yeah, and then like the website and the socials, because a lot more people might be maybe they don't want to read the message on my can, but they can definitely read it on your website. So I think that just getting the message out there. I know I definitely want to. I was talking to you, Craig, about that today. I really want to push that locally as well, to get more people aware of where we're at. And I mean the other thing I just wanted to mention too is I don't know how many people out there in the brewery in the brewing world are doing that, but at the CBA, so the Canadian Brewing Awards, back in September, they had like a panel of women in brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
which
yeah,
was
I think
great.
like Jake and stuff were on there.
Yeah,
Probably, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
Jake and I actually got to meet Ren Navarro for the first time.
Ren's great.
I know
She's great.
Yeah, she was involved in the Celebrating Sisters collab that I talked about a little bit earlier.
Yes.
But and then they were kind of mentioning to make it known that you're a safe space for LGBTQ plus and BIPOC individuals. So we started looking at our job postings and including those on there.
Good.
That we're a safe space. So I think that's very important to mention as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's about it. We have some other. We're looking at doing a couple other of those. The collabs, the Black is Beautiful, Brave Noise, in April. So Brave Noise just announced that they're going to be extending their campaign.
Yes.
And so we want to definitely reach out to the Black is Beautiful too. We had that on our to-do list for a while, but
you'll be the fourth in Quebec.
Fifth or sixth now.
I think there's a couple coming out, so I don't want to burst anybody's bubble.
Four Origins just did one. I think they were the fifth because Alafoot were the fourth.
The
so then if someone else, you would be the sixth, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's
and
really
that's
important.
exactly what they said. Like Weathered Souls, we met with the owner there, Marcus, and he was like, "Yeah, it wasn't this time constraint thing. It's like, please do it at any time. Like, please, support it anytime, whenever it makes sense for you." Exactly. Yeah. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, and I really have a big appreciation to like Sankyam Barrow, who's done it a few times too, because I find a lot of these things are flash in the pan for some. Well, I don't want to speak on. Put words in certain breweries' mouths and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily a marketing vehicle. It's more of a lifestyle,
Yeah.
So like, for instance, when me and Craig were talking earlier today, it's just like, can we do the link up beer again, and not necessarily be on the release list, or maybe do a release list and do a different beer altogether,
Yeah.
So, and like that's the driver of the story, obviously, like Black is Beautiful and Brave Noise have their own stories to tell, and I think that's they're also important to highlight those in their own individual times. But I definitely don't want it to be like a flash in the pan thing for us. And like when everybody did, what's the one with the rainbow there? All together.
All together?
Yeah. The first one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I understand why we don't need to do all together anymore, because that was to help the restaurant industry and stuff like that. However, it was like I've just felt like everybody jumped on that train really fast.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple of other ones that were like, hello, everybody, we can do this all year round. Mm-hmm. For instance, Black is Beautiful. And I didn't really see too many people step up to that. I think altogether we had like a buttload of them come out. It was huge. In Quebec. And around the world, but mostly in Quebec, we saw a ton of those. And then all of a sudden the Black is Beautiful. And for instance, Brave Noise, I think there was only, I want to say one that did it,
In Quebec? Sorry, I just said it so
yeah, in Quebec.
Oh my gosh, really?
There was 3 Black is Beautiful.
I thought Black is Beautiful was terrible. Oh gosh.
Yeah, no, Brave Noise, I think it's only Overhop that did it.
Overhop. I didn't realize they were the only ones. And it's like the women-owned diverse brewery. Shocking. Okay, interesting.
I mean, it fits the culture of the business. So
wow,
it would be surprising if it wasn't. But just to say, I mean, we're guilty of it too. We didn't come out. We didn't do these collabs when it was. Yeah.
It's got to make sense.
Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of strange times during like the middle of the pandemic too. It was strange times.
And it was a stout. It was a stout in summertime, so I kind of understand why that one didn't work for everybody. Like maybe didn't fit their.
And I think people in Quebec don't always understand that there's definitely a you and I were talking about today, a bit of disconnect.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of work to do in Quebec. That's why we're really sticking with it. And
we're
it's
not
great.
Going to give up here.
No, we're extra grateful for breweries like you, man, that like just get it and helped us from before it was the thing, and continue to push it and do all of these other initiatives that you absolutely don't have to do. And that is important. It means a lot to us because you don't have to do this.
Yeah, I don't think you even have to be concerned of the timing of it at all. It's just that it's important that you're doing it. It's already baked into your ethos already, just based on who you all are. But you don't have to be too concerned with time. And I love that you want to be intentional about it. And just like what you were saying with Saint Kiem, that's why Link Up exists, right? Is like Jacob didn't want it to be this flash in the pan. He didn't want it to make you feel like marketing. And so he took it to like a whole other level and reached out to us. Was like, how do I make this count? Like, how do I make it?
Yeah.
Here's Link Up. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The other thing that was a strange time for us is that we're actually a brew pub first, and then all of a sudden it's like brew pubs closed. What do we do? We're transitioning into cans. So I think we're just trying to find our elbow out of our asshole. But yeah, it's like now that I think we have a better grasp on that.
I was like, how does you see me look up? Be like, how does this work here? But anyways, continue.
Again, visuals. Continue. I
love it. Don't shelf your elbow. That's not
no, definitely not the idea.
But so I think now that we're in a better spot, better understanding of kind of like where we are as a business, now we can definitely participate on, for instance, these. I keep looking at the can as if you can see it. Sorry. I was like, why does he keep looking down there? It's like for us to be able to participate on a larger scale, because these cans will be able to travel, hopefully far and wide, and not just Quebec and Ontario. Hopefully the breweries in Ontario also have a fair amount of travelers and reach that it's going to make it across the country, And as soon as the borders don't suck and we have to hide in a hole for 2 weeks when we come back or whatever. Like maybe we'll make it across the states. I don't know, but it's that's the whole thing. Like we're excited to be part of these initiatives, and definitely means a lot to us as a business.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
No, thank you, and thank you for participating. It means a lot.
It really
and
does.
for bringing it with obviously all your beer is fantastic, but it means a lot that it's just I don't know, you all brought something really interesting and cool and just delicious to this, so thank you.
Yeah, man.
Right on.
Yeah, we're super grateful. So you are a bloody champion. So while we're at the end of this now, the things that we can say, because this is going to come out just shy of 2 weeks after we do this, so all the things will be out. The bonus round of Link Up, because we're not going to do a podcast, so I will mention it. It's basically going to be out next week from when we're filming it. But the Senki and Baron is doing a Black is Beautiful, their fourth time doing it, I believe, for Black History Month, so a 2022 version of that for Link Up, so a Link Up collab. So that will be only now the second beer after this glorious pomegranate Pilsner that wasn't a hoppy beer or some sort of IPA for Link Up, which is great. So that is available right now. I hope if it didn't sell out already for those who were watching and listening. And Kahnawake and BAOS have a collab dropping also next week. And Drew made a bit of an allusion to it. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. We were figuring out what to do for quite some time. We'd sort of had back and forth for at least 6 months. We were just sort of, we should do this. And then we kind of drop it. Then we pick it back up and we're like, yeah, we're going to do this. So we ended up doing a smoothie sour that was modeled after an Australian, I call it a biscuit, but a cookie, called Monte Carlo, which is my favorite. It's kind of like a Oreo style sandwich cookie with cream in the middle. So this kind of vanilla cookie with I guess it's like a coconut and raspberry filling. And Drew noted earlier to me, which we need to talk about after this, is a bit of a lemon tang in there, which I've eaten these cookies since I was literally a child, and I never noticed it.
And it's funny, as soon as Craig said it to me, I was like, I could.
You could get it.
That.
I meant to tell you, yeah. Tiff was like, I totally get it.
And then, so I was like, I bet there's lemon either in the crust of it or
I looked at the packet and it doesn't say.
The package doesn't say it, but then I looked up recipes on how to make them, and people said lemons, you use lemon zest. So I was like, so it's probably a pinch in there that they don't even mention, which you probably should for allergy reasons. But I bet, or at least if you're making it, that's how you mimic the taste of it. So I think when you said that, immediately I was like, there is a lemon thing in there. Yeah. Yeah,
it's really fine. It's really a small amount, but it's really at the end of when you're eating that cookie. It's really the biscuit part of it too that has that.
That's what I was thinking. It's the biscuit. It's something in there that's
that small... completely adds up though.
Yeah, it's very small, and maybe that's to cut a bit of sweetness or something in there. I don't know, but it is. Yeah.
I don't know. Australians are fucking weird, but
strange people. Isn't it such a great cookie though? Great baking.
Yeah, it is. It was great.
And to be fair, Drew only got the cookie today, and you already made the beer. So you made the beer off me telling you. Yeah. And now you've got to try it because we just didn't get around to getting them to you. So now you've tried it.
And now I want to redo it.
Well, you got those extra labels, so we can do a little volume too with a few tweaks. So I'm super excited. So that beer is available. I don't know how long it'll be there for. Smoothies tend to kind of move pretty quick. So go grab that one. Super fun, and I value you, bro, for just being willing to do some fun shit.
You got
it. There you go.
That is hilarious.
Look at that. Shelf of Bicky. If you're not sure what it is,
should have
check
been
Urban
shelving
Dictionary.
a Bicky, honestly.
And you even have pictures of the Bicky.
Yeah, that is the attention to detail is incredible.
We're gonna drink one of those after this. So we've got a little mashup.
Look at that,
I love to get it.
Well, I didn't.
You didn't drop it.
There's a little story to this. It's great, but
we can deal with that later. Y'all can check that out.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap this one up. Obviously, stick around. We'll chat after. Oh, let's take the thumbnail real quick.
Oh yeah.
So hold up the Link Up can, if you may, sir. There you go. You can eat that. There you go. Hey, wait. Let me see if I can get it. I can eat it too. Oh, that is stunning. Uncle Drew, where can everybody find Kahnawake Brewing online?
So we just switched up all our handles because I watched High Season's wrap up of the year of where breweries did it right and wrong.
Oh wow!
So I just changed up our thing. It is actually Kahnawake Brewing
because it used to be K-Town Brew, right?
Used to be K-Town Brew. Nobody knows what the hell that shit is. So it's now Kahnawake Brewing.
Hey, I love that. I love that. That deserves an Oscar applause. I just want to put it out there that deserves an Oscar.
That's a Ricky Gervais.
That was a Ricky. That wasn't the Posh Applause, but I'll still take it. But I love that.
Oh, you want the
I
Posh
love
one?
that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just joking, though. But I love that. I love that.
Yeah, KahnawakeBrewing.com. You can order all our beers online as well if you're in a rush and you need to order in advance. You can always do that. Otherwise, just come down to the brew pub. We are open Wednesday to Sunday from noon to 11.
I was like 8 a.m.
On
Wow.
most nights, and noon to 11 p.m. on most nights. And then we're serving. We got 12 beers on tap that are constantly rotating. We got a mess load of cans that going on at all times. We got our food menu as well that a lot of people are not maybe aware of. And if you're looking for a day trip, you can actually eat. That's great.
The pizzas are fine.
And
so good.
Yeah, we still have those pizzas.
They're so good.
Great pizzas. And also check out my friends, linkupbeer.org, or link up on all the socials. Link up beer, on all the socials.
Yep.
And
this guy's getting
Look at
high.
that. I know. Seriously.
What's happening?
If I knew you weren't working 80 hours a week already, I'd really think that you were auditioning for a job here.
And it's always nice to see you guys, and
100%.
you guys probably look way better than most people after COVID, so that's great.
We've just been here doing nothing.
Yeah, just nothing at all.
Nothing. I'm not gonna lie, the old this covers it, but
Yeah, block is the key. Thank you so much, though. I really appreciate that.
You guys probably have like little treadmills under your feet right now, just to keep you going.
That would actually be really genius.
Would be good.
Yeah, that's why the standing desks are actually probably
because
great, because then you're just like, I'm just gonna walk all day.
Up, down.
Yeah.
I used to have a standing desk, and those are like flipping awesome. So definitely,
maybe we should look at that.
Yeah, we should look at it.
Maybe not here because this place is tiny, but
yeah, we fill the space. But yeah.
Okay,
I like
love
that.
it.
I like that.
So that is perfect. Stick around. We're just going to wrap this up, and then we'll chat after. But Drew, once again, thank you again, bro.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate everything you're doing.
Such a good conversation.
Movement.
Good to catch up.
Yes, absolutely. It's been overdue. We do need to get down this
summer,
in the coming months.
the
Well, we can go before summer.
Yeah,
there's
spring.
commune order, a little bit of Uber. You know the vibes.
There you go.
So appreciate you guys. So make sure you go check out Kahnawake. Go grab the link up beer out there and everything else. Drew's Haze is fucking A1. I'm telling you, it's all phenomenal stuff. Guys, thank you for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast. Check out the long form audio. We go, I keep saying go live. We drop every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So check out that Spotify, Apple Podcast for the audio, and give it a little 5 stars on that little bad boy there. It helps us a lot.
Tell us how much you love us.
Exactly, and as Uncle Drew said, at Link Up Beer everywhere, linkupbeer.org. If you are looking for to apply for the program, it's on linkupbeer.org. If you are a brewery, and this is to you as well, Drew, if you ever got we're putting together a drum board. We'll be dropping in hopefully the coming weeks. I think we're just finishing up the technical side of it. We're trying to take all the different job ads from different breweries and just put it all in one place so people can just go and find it all without having to dig around the internet. So breweries, please message us on social, email us social@linkupbeer.org, which will hit me directly. And we're going to start promoting all the jobs as much as humanly possible to help diversify this wonderful industry that we love so much. So thank you guys for watching and listening. So this is the last episode of the Link Up series. We will be back probably in June. I reckon the series 3 is like May, June. So we'll be back then for that, but then we'll be moving back to the adjunct series with more ridiculous nonsense with amazing human beings. Guys, thank you again. Love you all. We'll see you in the next episode. Get in ya.
Bye.